So Nick Sirianni is under a lot of criticism after the Eagles' embarrassing loss to the Cardinals, and some say he's even lost the locker room at this point, but left tackle Jordan Mailata doesn't seem to think so, as he made sure to do his part to defend Sirianni when he was given the chance. Meanwhile, Sirianni himself was actually given the chance to comment on the A.J. Brown situation, so what's his take on what's going on? Well, a certain Philadelphia Inquirer writer gave his take on the situation as he slandered A.J. Brown and accused him of being one of the Eagles' biggest problems, although Sydney Brown cited soft practices instead, and the rookie also ripped into the Eagles' defense for a terrible performance. So we're going to talk about all that and more in this video today, so let's not waste any time and get straight into it. Okay, so let's start off with an injury update on DeVonta Smith, as of course we saw him go out of the game on that horrible 3rd and 20 play call where he was set as the lead blocker on a screen pass once again, and Kenneth Gainwell rolled up on him pretty good, so he left the game, and he was then seen after in a walking boot and crutches, so that was definitely scary, but the good news is the injury is not serious. Multiple reports have come out saying that it's just a mild ankle sprain and it shouldn't keep him out very long, but the bad news is there's just 1 week left in the regular season and then it's time for the playoffs, so he doesn't have very long to heal if he wants to get back by then. And judging by what Nick Sirianni said, it doesn't really sound like he has a great chance of being ready to go for the final game of the regular season versus the Giants on Sunday.
As far as DeVonta, obviously he got rolled up on the second to last drive on that 3rd down call, and yeah, he was still on. He came up today, and I actually got to see him today. Got to spend some time with him. He was on crutches and still in the boot, and so we'll see. We'll see where he is. He's tough as anybody we have on this team. He's a warrior. He's tough as heck. He'll do everything he possibly can to get himself back on that field as fast as he possibly can.
I don't know. I just have a hard time imagining that with Smith in a walking boot and crutches on Monday, he'll be ready to go for Sunday. I mean, I guess we'll see, but I'm just worried about him being ready to go for the playoffs at this point, because that's what's really important. I mean, we know Smitty is tough, so I would guess he does play when that comes around, but again, I guess we'll see. Now, switching over to another Eagles receiver, we obviously know the whole situation going on with A.J. Brown and him being frustrated with the coaching staff, and that being the reason for his recent media silence, and that report actually came from an article written by Marcus Hayes of the Philadelphia Inquirer, and while I feel like I can't really dispute that information specifically, that he's frustrated with the coaching, because for one, it's the only reason for his frustration that actually makes sense, and two, Hayes wrote that multiple Eagles players feel the same way as A.J. Brown, and they also know that that is the reason that he's frustrated, so I can't really dispute that point, but I can dispute the actual premise of the article itself, because it's essentially a hit piece on A.J. Brown. I mean, the first part of the article reads, quote, "The Eagles have a problem. It wears number 11, and it wears headsets, and it's tearing the team apart," which, I mean, that's just a crazy accusation. I feel like there are so many problems with this Eagles team right now, but A.J. Brown has to be at the bottom of the list. But throughout this article, Marcus Hayes goes on to write about how A.J. Brown is pouting on the field and he's being a poor leader, and it's kind of ridiculous, honestly, because I think it's pretty evident that everybody's frustrated right now, and A.J. Brown is just a guy who, he's an emotional guy. He wears his heart on his sleeve, so I think you can see it a little bit more with him rather than other players, and I just have a really hard time believing that him looking a little frustrated during games and not talking to the media is tearing the locker room apart like Hayes wants you to think. I mean, that really just doesn't make sense to me, and in all honesty, he has a right to be frustrated with the coaches. Speaking of which, Nick Sirianni was asked about the whole A.J. Brown situation, and this is what he said.
Obviously, I don't want to speak for him, but obviously, when you have a dynamic playmaker like A.J., he's going to want to change the game at all times, and he's capable of doing that at all times. And so, again, I don't want to speak for him, but, obviously we're all frustrated. We're all frustrated right now. You want to be able to have fun. You want to be able to do all these things and that football brings. But sometimes it's hard to have fun and hard to find the enjoyment when you're in a rut like we are. I know this, and I've said this to you guys on the record, off the record, everything, that there's nobody that is as good of a teammate. There's nobody that's as good of a person as AJ. I can't say enough good things about him. We're all frustrated, I think, and I don't want, and again, like I said, I don't want to speak for him on anything.
And then later, in an appearance on WIP Radio, Nick was asked about his own relationship with A.J. Brown, and this was his response.
Like I said, we talk all the time, and yes, we've spoken in the last 48 hours, and I'm going to keep my relationship and my conversations with A.J. Private, because that's what you do, with the coach-player relationship. And so, again, I know who he is. I know what his heart. I know he's got a great heart and great teammate, and we're all frustrated right now. AJ does so many things for us, and as a captain, the things he does for the team and his teammates. So you're seeing a portion of it, and you're not seeing obviously the entire picture. And so again, I don't think anything's broken, right? I don't think anything is broken. Again, we just all want to we're all frustrated, and we all want to get this bad taste out of our mouth.
So it was definitely good to hear Sirianni defend AJ in both clips, and he's really right. AJ is a good teammate, as we've seen in the past, and he's a good person, and he's really just frustrated right now. And sure, like what Marcus Hayes is saying, you could make the argument that AJ expressing his frustration outwardly is causing problems in the locker room, but at the same time, I don't think I really buy into that, and if he doesn't say something, nobody will, and I really do feel like someone needs to say it. And look, Nick knows why AJ and other guys are frustrated. He said it himself, they're not winning, and AJ feels like he could do more to help. He's a dynamic player that's always going to want to make the big plays, and he wants to contribute as much as possible. But then I have to wonder, if Nick actually knows this, then why not listen to him? I mean, why not get him the ball more and in more creative ways? Why not change up the offense significantly? Because that's the only way things are really going to get better. Because if nothing changes, you see things like this on the most crucial offensive sequence of the Cardinals game, where they didn't go to AJ Brown once. I mean, you can't blame AJ when these are the 3 play calls in the most crucial moment of the game, and I mean, even Merrill, Reese, and Mike Quick couldn't believe what they were seeing at this point.
Fakes, he's going to run again. Now he falls down inside the 30. I don't know what was called there and why.
Yeah, whatever it was called, it doesn't work. Why do you not just throw the ball in this situation because you can?
These last 2 plays have been inexplicable.
Now, Nick Sirianni was asked about these play calls again on Monday, and he seemed to kind of walk back his defense of them and said maybe he could have been more aggressive in that situation.
Yesterday, and we're in that 4-minute, we get the onside kick and we're in that 4-minute, I like the calls, but maybe I could have been more aggressive there. And that's just me being honest with you guys.
Now, on one hand, I can at least appreciate him admitting that maybe he made a mistake and maybe he should have been more aggressive, but then on the other hand, he's still saying that he liked the call, so does he really regret the actual calls themselves? I'm not sure. And at this point, Sirianni can say all the right things, but I'm not believing that anything is going to change until I see it. And this season, with this offensive coordinator and the way things are going now, I doubt we see any real meaningful change that makes a difference. And obviously, everyone's frustrated with this. I mean, AJ Brown's just the face of players being upset with the coaches right now, but it doesn't just stop with him. I think the general opinion amongst fans and analysts even is that Nick Sirianni has lost the Eagles locker room, and people are saying that the team is no longer buying into what Sirianni is selling, and that's the reason that a lot of people think he should be fired. However, it does seem like not all the players are agreeing with that notion that Sirianni's lost the locker room, at least publicly, as when left tackle Jordan Mailata was asked if Sirianni still had the backing of the players, he was quick to defend Sirianni, saying, quote, "Yes, why would you say that? It's the NFL. It's any given Sunday. We got our teeth punched in today because we went out there and we thought they were going to be a pushover. No, it's the NFL. No, Nick has not lost the locker room. I'm going to end it there." Honestly, yeah, on one hand, Mailata kind of does have to say that publicly, but then on the other hand, I highly doubt that at least the guys who were here last year during the Super Bowl run have lost all confidence in Nick. I mean, I don't think that would happen that fast because those guys have seen him be successful before. Now, the coordinators are a different story, and I think the players have probably lost all confidence in them. But with that being said, what do you guys think? Is Mailata telling the truth, or has Nick Sirianni truly lost the locker room? Now, something that certainly doesn't help Nick's case is when he has a player that is usually really soft-spoken come out and actually criticize the practices, and that's kind of exactly what happened when Sydney Brown went on WIP radio after the Eagles lost to the Cardinals, as in regards to practice, he said, quote, "Practice habits become game day reality," which it kind of makes you think that maybe the Eagles practices aren't hard enough or they're not preparing the players enough, and things like that all come back to the coaches and specifically the head coach. And on top of saying that, Sydney Brown also ripped into the Eagles defense for their horrible performance on Sunday.
Yeah, well, I mean, we just definitely, if you look at it, we got out physical. They're a big gap scheme team with GY schemes and stuff like that and pin pull, and they got to the perimeter, and then we just didn't do enough filling our gaps and getting over top of those gaps to get to the outside to force that run to go uphill, and it killed us. It is what it is. We just lost the worst team in the NFL, and it's all about how we respond. I don't think the confidence is gone, but we do need to come together and figure this out, because we play the defense we know we can play. I think we're the most dominant unit in the NFL, especially with the guys that we got. And I don't have any loss in confidence in who we have on the field. It's just all about what we do.
So again, a lot of the stuff that he talked about there, like not filling run gaps and being undisciplined, a lot of that comes back to the bad practice habits and coaching, and of course the players have a lot of fault in it too, but Brown still did say that he is 100% confident in the players themselves. It's just about what they do, and sure, part of that is definitely execution, but it also has to do with the coaches putting the players in the right positions and preparing them well, and getting the fundamentals down and stuff like that, and we just haven't really seen those things recently, and it's really hurt the team, especially the defense. I mean, they've arguably been the worst defense in the NFL late in the year, and they've been one of the worst all season, and again, I think that has to do with coaching and scheme more than anything else. And for right now, we're stuck with Matt Patricia and Sean Desai, and clearly neither of those guys are working out, and Patricia did do his best to explain some of the issues on Sunday, but there's really nothing he can say to make me feel any better about what I watched, because it was just unacceptable. And now, both defensively and offensively, the Eagles somehow gotta try to look to get better and just move forward from what was one of the worst Eagles losses that I've ever seen, maybe the worst loss I've ever seen, considering all the expectations this team had and the way it went down. Now, we still got the playoffs coming up in 2 weeks, so there's still something to play for, and I definitely like to see the starters play this Sunday against the Giants, regardless of what's going on in the Dallas game, because we need to see this team put together a decent game before the playoffs. It's simple as that, but I will still say my confidence right now is at an all-time low. Now, despite what this team is currently doing to me, I'll still be covering them throughout the rest of the season and also into the offseason, so if you don't want to miss any of that, make sure you subscribe and also turn on notifications. That's really, really important. You don't want to miss when any of this Eagles coverage drops. Also, if you did enjoy this video, make sure you drop a like down below to help show some support, and leave a comment down below just regarding anything that I talked about in this video. And if you want to watch another video recapping the Eagles' horrible loss to the Cardinals, you can go check this out right here. Now, with all that being said, that's pretty much all I got for this one, guys. So thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.